Alright, on today's project I'm going to be showing you how to change the front struts on your Volkswagen Jetta. Now, the common question is, how do you know when your front struts need replacing? Well, a couple things. This is a 1998 Jetta Tdi and it has 322,000 miles on it. Some of the ways you can tell is if you have abnormal tire wear. Now, I have been noticing on my front wheel here that that the outside tire wear has been a little more than it normally has been in the past. That could be an indication. Certainly this car is just, it's very, very bouncy. The other thing I noticed is that about a week ago it started steering funny, and I started looking and I noticed that the distance from the passenger side and the driver's side between the tire and the fender well was not equal. And what happened is, on this car, the strut mount on this side is basically blown through. So with 322,000 miles, the struts are coming off. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, the very first thing you want to do is you want to secure the car, and I'm just going to be lifting the front end up. We're just going to be doing front end struts today, not the rear. So I'm going to put a chalk on the back so the car doesn't roll back, and I'm going to jack the car up and take the front wheel off. Now, I want y'all to see a little bit of a difference here. You see the clearance between this mount and the strut tower, and between this mount and the strut tower you can see there's a difference. Alright, so I'm just going to pull the front wheel off and then we'll be back. Alright, now I've got the wheel off. Now please make sure, if you're working on the car, you see I have the jack on the subframe, and we don't want to work on the car like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put another jack under there. So if you don't have some jack stands, don't do the job until you have them. Now, you really don't want to put the jack stands on the body because it's just not strong enough to hold the weight of the car. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this nut loose right here. This is going to allow the strut to drop down. Alright, now really to do this job properly, I like to use another floor jack. You can use a little scissors jack if you want. And the purpose of this is to hold up the A-arm assembly, because as soon as you take that strut loose, it's going to come crashing down. All you want to do is just barely support it like that, okay? Because this, as soon as we take these two bolts loose from the knuckle, it's going to fall when we take that top bolt out. Now, if you've got any lines, like your brake line, you want to go ahead and pull those out. I guess what I'm going to do here is just remove this little bracket. Alright, the biggest 6-point socket that I had in an impact was a 3/4. I'm sorry, it was a 7/8. So that's what I used, an impact gun and a 7/8 to take this off. If you have a 24mm 6-point, you can use that. Now, what I'm going to do is just leave this bolt on here, just like that. I've removed the brake bracket that attaches to the strut, and I'm going to remove these two bolts here. Okay, these two bolts right here come off with 18mm, and you'll have to hold the nut with a wrench. this is why you want some pressure, a little bit of pressure on your strut. Alright, so I've got both bolts out. And the strut, as soon as we take this top bolt off, now make sure you look at the order. You've got this top plate, you've got the bolt, you've got our mounts, which is in here, which is going to fall out. And you just bring this out, just like that. Alright, this is the factory original strut. This is a Sachs unit. I am replacing this with a Sachs unit. Now, here's the part that goes bad on most of these units right here. This is the top mount. Inside there's a bearing, and I'm going to show you all that in a minute. This is the dust boot that's long since self-destructed. There's the bump stop in there. Also, for the Volkswagen owners, if you'll notice, these have 2 green and then 2 pink, or 3 pink. That denotes the spring rate. This spring rate is going to be different for different cars. So that's really all there is, and this top plate is just a it's just a metal plate that holds the strut in. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some spring compressors. I'm going to show you how to compress this spring so that we can get the spring away from the strut. Okay, here's where we are. We've got our brand new strut, and when you get it, it's going to be compressed like this. We'll cut this, it'll allow the rod to extend. Here's our new mount. Now, notice the difference. There's quite a bit of difference. This mount is basically destroyed, and that's why our strut was sitting so low. Here's our new dust boot to go inside there, and this is the bearing which goes inside there, and I'll show you how to do that. But the most important thing is your spring compressor. Now, if you don't have the proper spring compressor, take this strut to a shop and see if they will swap that out for you. This is extremely dangerous. This spring is under a great amount of tension, and if you don't believe me, go on YouTube and just watch what happens when a spring compressor fails or when somebody doesn't put it on right. Now, the reason that I like this type, alright, I got this from Sears, it's Craftsman, it's part number 947057, is because it has these pins. And this is brand new, I haven't even used it yet. It's got locking pins. Okay, when this goes over, you can push this and it locks it so that this can't come off. And they're on both ends. Most spring compressors, most cheap spring compressors do not have these type of pins. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to hook this as best we can on the spring. Basically, probably going to hook it like that. And those pins are going to lock like that. This will prevent the compressor from taking an early retirement. If you're standing in the wrong place, when this goes off, bones are going to be broken, and it could kill you. It could hit you in the head. Never, ever, ever do this standing over when you're actually compressing the spring. Alright, so we want the other spring compressor on the exact opposite of the other side as best we can. And let's go ahead and screw this down a little bit because it's going to match the other side. Now it doesn't have to be in the exact same, you know, because the spring is obviously it's not equal as far as level. But just make sure, and I'll show this before I tighten it down, how I've got it set. That they're pretty much directly across from each other. You don't want them like this. You want the force to be as close as possible. Alright, so we've got our pins locked in all the way on both sides. So all we have to do now is the most dangerous part, which is tighten this. Now do not stand over this. Can't emphasize this enough. If you have a vise, you can use a vise. You can do it on the ground like this. If you do it on the ground like this, alright, and something happens, it's just going to shoot out. I kind of like this better than putting it in a vise, because it is possible that it can ricochet back down and hit you, and we don't want that. So alright, we can see the strut is now loose from the spring. Okay, make sure your locking pins are where they should be. Alright, this is under extreme amount of pressure. Alright, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to get a socket and take that nut off right there. And so this is what it looks like. Don't drop this, don't stand over this, work to the side. Alright, so here's the nut that comes off. Make sure to have these in proper order. Here's our mount. See the way our bearing sits? See, everything sits just like this. Now, again, there's nothing holding this spring except your compressors, so very gently pull out your old strut. Okay. Old strut, new strut. The pocket for the spring has to sit in this recess, the end. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this strap, let this go out. We'll put our bump stop that we're going to reuse back on here. Then we'll put our dust boot, and then we'll reassemble the strut. We're going to remove our bump stop. Now you see how loose this is? See, I can't do that with this one. That's why this looks shorter. So slightly different. There we go. We'll have the mount goes like this. We'll have our bearing. It fits just like this. So see the difference in the two mounts? Huge difference. This recess right here, it's the end of the spring. So very, very gently. Take the spring, set it in there and rotate it so it hits that stop. Alright, after you've got the strut inside the spring, you've got your dust boot pushed down. Then make sure that the dot faces down. We've got our bearing and our new rubber mount. Then we're going to screw the locking nut on there. And that's all it needs. Alright. Once that's done, pull your pins, loosen the compressor enough to take it loose from the spring. Now, the reason that I'm doing this in the grass is because the grass is soft and it's a lot easier than doing it on a metal or wooden surface. Alright. There's our strut. There's our spring. Everything's looking good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this strut. We've got our mount and our top plate. Put that back in the mount. Now, as soon as you get that there, just put the top plate in. Put the nut on. We're going to line our joint back up here. Take your two bolts. You're going to have to compress this shock a little bit. About 4 threads is what you want here, which is about the same here. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to pull the wheel off. Oh, by the way, this is a 10 millimeter. Next step, remove this bolt. All right, I had to use a MAP gas torch to heat these two bolts up right here. Anytime you're working on the driver's side of the car, for some reason stuff seems to stick more so. So anyway, I'm just going to tap these out. Touch them. There you go. Twist it and pull it out. We're going to put the two compressors on. Now after you do this job, you're going to need to get an alignment done.